What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Baldwin. Welcome back to another fun-filled, action-packed week of Realify. Leslie's here with us. Hi, Leslie.
Good morning, everyone.
Today
Welcome
we
back.
are. Oh, sorry, I was
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
My
No,
bad. Go ahead. What
and
were you
welcome
going to say?
back, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Today's kicks off lead generation week,
Ooh.
and some of the stuff we're going to talk about might be something that you already know everything about, but I feel like it's always good to kind of revisit certain topics to make sure that, everyone's doing them right, following the right steps. It's kind of like holding you accountable and just repeating, the important aspects of certain lead generation strategies. So today we're going to talk about, 10 different steps to host a successful open house. I used to love doing open houses. I thought it was a really good opportunity to get in front of more motivated buyers and sellers, just because, if they got motivated to get off the couch, they're in front of you. You're skipping basically this whole area of trying to get in front, like in terms of the lead generation, what's the timeline or pipeline. It's not like you're getting an internet lead and calling or texting them and then attempting to get in front of them. They're in front of you now, so you're basically skipping the line. You got the fast pass to convert someone into a client, because once they're in front of you and they see your face and they see that you're trustworthy, you've basically tackled the most difficult part. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. And look, not everybody who goes to open houses is looking to buy or sell. There's some people who just make a hobby of going to open houses, but for the most part, they are mostly more motivated buyers and or sellers, and it's great to get in front of them. So we're going to talk today about an effective tool in a realtor's arsenal, the open house. And you got to make an event of it. I see a lot of people on Facebook, posting how dead or how bored they are at an open house, but that's because you didn't do anything to get people there. So with real estate evolving with tech and market trends, open houses still remain a cornerstone of the property sales or getting in front of potential buyers and sellers. So let's talk about the 10 different steps that we feel are the most important when, preparing and hosting a successful open house. So, the first thing definitely is neighborhood canvassing. So before the open house, a couple hours before, the day before, whatever's convenient for you, walking around and dropping flyers off, introducing yourself, knocking on some doors, providing information about the open house, letting them know that, down the street, so-and-so just listed their home. They may not have known that. People just love to know what's going on in their immediate area. But before you do that, you should definitely research the area if you're not familiar with it. So familiarize yourself with the recent sales, anything that's currently listed in the area, any market trends that you should be familiar with. This is going to allow you to speak really confidently to the person when you're at their door and answer any questions that they might have, because you never know. You might have someone who wants to chat and ask you very specific questions about what's going on. And it's really good to just know that off the top of your head. Don't go there empty-handed. It always looks a little bit awkward if you have nothing to give them. So prepare some nice flyers about the open house. Have a business card if that's something that people still do. I don't know, or have a QR code on the flyer that links to your business card, so people can just scan it and download it into their phone, and maybe have a market report, something along those lines. And then, let them know what the purpose of your visit is. Just get right to the point. Let them know about the upcoming open house in their neighborhood it can definitely start a conversation, right off the bat, gives them a heads up about, increased foot traffic on their street, and try to engage them in conversation if possible. You want to ask them open-ended questions like, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? What do you love most about living in this area? I think that feedback would be great to have in my back pocket when people come to start looking at the house. It'll be nice to say, well, the neighbors love this or they love that. You know what I'm saying? You also want to try to gauge their interest if you're talking to neighbors in the area. You know, something along the lines of, with the way homes are selling in the area, have you ever thought about what your property might be worth? And then, of course, I always did this. I always sent thank you notes to people who left me their addresses, or if I was dropping off flyers, if they answered the door, I would make note of who I talked to and then send them a note in the mail, handwritten. It definitely leaves a lasting impression and keeps the door open for future interactions. So that is the first step: canvassing the neighborhood, talking to people, letting them know what's going on, that you have an open house. They should come by and take a look at it. They have the opportunity to choose their neighbor, things of that nature, and just starting relationships.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's just something that we tend to forget is that proactive marketing is key, especially if it is your listing. But if it isn't your listing, that's okay too. You can just co-partner with that listing agent and ask them perhaps if you can send out a direct mailer. And that's the next thing that I'll be discussing, is sending out a direct mailer in advance. So ensuring that those postcards are really surrounding that open house. As you know, or some of you may know, that you can do that in Command right now, like drop a pin on a specific address and then literally create a radius of how many postcards you want to send out. Typically around 200 is going to be like a little under $100. So again, just know your resources in the technology that you have, but ensure that you do know kind of what the neighborhood is like, who's living there, what kind of demographic are you actually targeting, so that you are speaking to that audience. And then of course, make sure that your postcard is beautiful. It has a high quality image on it. There's an actual visual appeal. And just like we do on Facebook with Facebook ads, you want your postcard to stand out, but you don't want too much copy on it. So make sure it's nice and concise, it's straightforward, and it's really highlighting when the open house actually occurs. And then of course, the timing of it, Nick. Time and time after again, I have this conversation about direct postcards, and it's like, oh, I should have done that like last week. And now it's too late, right? And so if you were to get the timing of this down perfectly, then showing up at the door and door knocking prior to the open house, people are going to know you because they're like, oh yeah, you look familiar. I feel like I saw your face in the mail, right? And so it's kind of a great way to just say, hey, did you get your postcard that I sent out? Well, if you didn't, no worries. We're here letting you know that the open house is literally today. Come and stop by. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is timing, right? So if you were to get ahead of it 7 days, which means a lot of you have to put your listing in a coming soon status if your MLS allows you to, right? So that all has to be boom, perfect. And you're going to get more engagement. So, and then like you said, Nick, sending out thank you cards after the open house is huge, even if it's via email or dropping one off at the door if you don't have their information.
Yeah, definitely important. The next topic, the next step is actually like my favorite. I used to love to do this, hosting a neighbors only preview or a neighbors only open house or a nosy neighbor open house. And this strategy allowed us to, on numerous occasions, list multiple homes on the same block because I invited the neighborhood. So, I would send out direct mail invites, about 100 homes around the property. And I would, consistently get about 12 to 15 neighbors within an hour, which is great. That's a great turnout. You're just basically hosting a special preview for them. And it seems very VIP and exclusive. It makes them feel special. You can talk to, and you know that if anyone shows up between that time, like let's say you have an open house from 2 to 4 and you do the neighbor's open house from 1 to 2, you know that anyone that shows up between 1 and 2 lives in the neighborhood. You know that they own a home. So it also lets you take the guesswork out of, I wonder if this person lives in the neighborhood, because they're showing up in that time frame. So you can schedule it a day beforehand. I usually would schedule it an hour before the main open house. And it lets the neighbors, I have so many neighbors come in and go, I've never been in here, and this is what their house looked like. Oh, people love to see how their neighbors live. And I go, oh, do you know them? No, I don't know them, but I've always wanted to see the inside of their house. I'm like, creep. No, I'm just kidding. But people love to come by and see how their neighbors are living. They also love to say, oh, my kitchen is so much more updated than this one. You know what I mean? They love the competition between their house and the house that they're in. And what I would usually do is, Barbara says that's what they say word for word. They're like, oh, they go like this. They go like, I knew the people that lived here before. And then they go, oh, look what they did to the bathroom. I would never have chosen that tile, right? They love that stuff. But what I would usually do is I would say, hey, do you want me to keep you in the loop about the activity on this home? Like how many people show up to the open house, how many private showings we've scheduled, when it goes in escrow or under contract, how quickly that happened, how many offers we got. And then of course, when it sells, how much it sold for. I go, do you want me to keep you in the loop of those specific points in the timeline? And they go, oh yes, I would love to, because they want to know, like, how many people saw it, how many offers they got, how quickly it sold, and what it sold for. So that's another excuse for you to reach out to them 3 or 4 more times throughout the transaction. And of course, send a thank you note to anybody who stops by from the neighborhood. So there you go. Phil says many sellers don't want nosy neighbors, but they need to want them as often. Wait a minute. I'm not reading it correctly, Phil. I guess it's an opportunity for them to tell their friends and family, and if they want to choose their neighbor, things.
Sorry, I might have typed it wrong.
Okay.
All the sellers are, and I don't want those nosy neighbors. And I said, I got to ask you a question. Has everyone ever said to you, hey, if a great place ever comes up in your neighborhood, let me know? Well, of course it has. And that's happened to every person. So, you know what? Very often I've sold homes because I've invited the VIP friends and neighbors, like you said, 1 to 2 instead of the regular public 2 to 4.
Right.
And they come in and enjoy it. And I'm just looking. And I said, has anyone ever asked you about the neighborhood? And they go, yeah. Well, tell them about this one. Yeah. So it's a huge revenue source and a lead source.
Yeah, it's great. And a lot of agents aren't doing it. And it's something that, is a no-brainer if you want to start to get to know people who live there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next topic is leveraging social media. You all know this, right? Again, proactively communicating to your, to the area around the listing with a direct mailer. Also doing it on social media is huge. So you can create targeted ads or social posts around the open house, of course, like Facebook and Instagram. Encourage others to share and comment. I like to talk about this one, Nick, because the more that you tag your sellers in your posts, their friends and their family are going to see their open house with you, which means that you're growing your sphere a little bit bigger. So I feel like a lot of people underutilize tagging in social posts around these open houses. So just again, take note of that. And then of course, doing stories or live videos are huge. But again, like Nick, you had mentioned earlier, well, don't do it when nobody's there. Hopefully you did all of this, marketing and communication prior to the open house, and then do the video when people are actually walking around. So it looks like there's a lot of engagement. Highlighting that is huge. Another thing that you can do is write an article about the neighborhoods that you're doing the open house in. As you all know, you can do that very quickly and easily with ChatGPT. I highly recommend doing something like that prior to the open house as well. And then, of course, knowing your demographic and all those people that you're trying to target is crucial. So being really purposeful with those posts and those Facebook ads so that you are actually placing that ad in front of somebody who would be interested in buying that home.
I think that's a good point. Like, if you know that the demographic that's going to move into that neighborhood, like first time buyers, is it a move up? Is it a downsize? Researching what those types of buyers are looking for. For example, first time buyers, they want different things than downsizers, right?
Yes.
So it's important to understand who that buyer might be. And when you're marketing it, highlighting those specific attributes of the home that is going to appeal to them. That's important. This is something that is just a no-brainer, but a lot of agents don't do it. Engage with the people that come into the house. Talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, really, talk to people. Ask them questions. It can open up conversations about other topics. Ask them what they're looking for in a house. Ask them if they live in the neighborhood. Have they ever been here? Are they familiar with what's around them? Just talk, right? And yeah, there's going to be people who aren't going to want to talk to you back, but don't just stand there and go, you know what I mean? And there's going to be times where you can't talk to everybody, but all you need is one good conversation. That's it. That's all you need. And then, set up an area of the house where you're offering some sort of value, like other listings that are for sale in the neighborhood, a market report, a free home valuation if they live in the area. And you can identify potential sellers by gathering that information from them. But I always find it, there's been plenty of times where people have come in and I've started talking to them, and then I say, hey, listen, why don't I send you this list of other properties that might be interesting to you, that are similar to this one. Or if this isn't for you, let's chat really quickly about what is, and I'll set you up on a search criteria right now. So that's a great way to engage them as well, offer them something of value while they're there.
I love it. And then, of course, let's talk about collecting their information, right? A lot of people, you guys will just use a sign-in sheet, which is totally fine. But I always think about it from a kind of branding point of view, like how are you positioning yourself as a professional? I mean, my opinion is a paper sign-in sheet works, and yet is that really portraying your professionalism? Could you be using something like a digital form or a landing page that would automatically place their information into your technology? We know that Command can do that. And the new agent sites can do that. So if you just / open house on any URL on a listing, it will turn that into a landing page for you. Open up laptop. Yeah, open up your laptop with the open house, and they're just signing in. And guess what? It goes right into Command, and you're getting everybody into your database so quickly and so easily. Another thing is just having that kind of conversation prior to them signing in, saying this is again for security purposes. We want to ensure, that we're collecting everybody's information, and it's my duty to, protect.
Oh, wow. That was easy.
Yeah.
Can I just show everyone how to do that real quick?
Yes, please do. The open house URL.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll let some more people in here.
Okay, so I'm on my agent site and I just clicked on any random listing. And then all I do here is go up to the URL at the top. And then at the very end, /open house. Okay, just like that. And boom, boom, there's the open house sign in. So,
Yay! Good job.
and if you make it smaller, this is how it'll look on like an iPad.
Love it.
Hey, is there an opportunity to, I hope that over time they'll add more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Functionality.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
sections. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, like Nick, you said earlier, it's just building rapport. Like having a conversation you can have all day, but like build some rapport in it. Start finding some relatable points with that person. Ask some questions that may not have to do with the open house, just because they do want to gain your trust, right? Be somebody that can be very approachable in that conversation instead of feeling like a salesperson in the house too. I think that also just, we kind of forget that kind of, conversation can just be easy. Like, hey, you having a good day? What are you guys doing this weekend? So at any rate, make sure you're capturing information as they walk in. I like to say, level up your game with something digital and use those open house landing pages that you have at your fingertips and command.
Yeah, and Phil was saying when you use the command landing page for open houses, the contact info is automatically tagged as the open house, which is pretty
Yes.
awesome.
Yes, and you could filter search by open house in the contacts as well.
So I would assume it's the property address or something like that.
Well, actually, you know how you could filter search a tag in command in contacts? You can literally say open house. So any of those open houses, house leads will pull up.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
You can save it as a start for you. We could talk forever.
Yeah. Let's not get in the weeds.
Exactly.
All right. So this is something you could offer for afterwards, right? Hosting a seminar. And that could be part of your conversation. Hey, I'm hosting a home buying seminar or a home selling seminar, or first time home buying tips, or understanding the real estate market in this area, or preparing your home for sale. I'm hosting a seminar at such and such a time and date, whether it's Zoom or in person. And this can position you to attract those people to come back to you a second time. If you're not able to talk to them for long enough, hey, you know what? I'm doing this this seminar. It's going to be virtual, and let me sign you up for it. You can even, if you use a different sign-in sheet as opposed to the command one, you could add a section on the form asking if they want to attend, choosing the topic that will resonate with them. I just rambled off a few. And promote the seminar in your open house marketing materials and email campaigns to give people the opportunity to register that way as well. So part of the conversation, schedule the seminar, obviously, before you start the open house. Don't just like off the cuff say you're going to do it. You want it to be specifically scheduled already, and give that and use that as an opportunity for people to come back to you again at another day and time to hear what you have to say, and you can position yourself as an expert that way.
Yes, I love it. I love this one, Nick. It's partnering with local businesses. Something that I just had a conversation with a couple of days ago with one of my clients is that what's happening in your local area. So for right now, I'm in Colorado, so we're entering into fall. A lot of homeowners are thinking about blowing out their sprinklers, and yet not everybody knows how to do it. And so it would be a great opportunity as you door knock, or perhaps as you market your open house prior, to let them know that you do have a partner in mind to help them in that moment of their needs. So finding that local like handy guy that has a way to blow out sprinklers, providing that partnership and adding more value is huge. And then it's just cross promotion. That person could also talk about your real estate business as he or she has conversations in their other business. So I think that's something that you could also do, as well as inviting them to the open house with you. As some of you already do, you invite a lender, or perhaps maybe you can invite somebody who bakes goods, somebody who has a bakery in the local area to provide refreshments. That would also be an idea for you all. So something to think about there. And then lastly, follow up. Follow up is huge, as we've been kind of sprinkling that in throughout our conversation today, is do that outreach again as they do come through your open house. Don't forget to follow up with them, because it could be somebody that you already had a really great conversation with at that open house. And again, sending a thank you card is so nice these days. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I receive like a handwritten thank you card in the mail, it feels very like personal, like a very personal touch. So
Yeah. So that's the 10 steps. Just to run down them: neighborhood canvassing, direct mail campaigns, hosting a neighbors only open house, leverage social media, engage with people that show up, offer something of value like a market report or a free home evaluation, collect their contact info, host a seminar, partner with local businesses, and then of course follow up. And look, a lot of this stuff is probably obvious, but we're not doing some of it. We're not even talking to people as they come in. We're not following up afterwards. Most of the magic is going to happen after the fact, when you start to reach out after the open house and start having communication that way. That's the best way to just convert, right? Because statistically, they're not going to buy the house that they're coming to look at, but they've seen you, they've seen your face, they've gotten to know you a little bit. And so if they don't have an agent, you're their agent, so.
thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir, up in Canada. Yeah, that is the end of our mastermind today. Anybody have anything they want to add? Tomorrow we're going to talk about capturing leads through paid sources and through social media, how you can most effectively do that. And we will see you then, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.